So, hello everyone, my name is Clifton Duhan. I'm the founder and CEO of Refuel. Refuel provides predictive nutritional analysis and personalized nutrition plans to endurance athletes. So for the past 24 years, I've been involved in the nutrition industry. I've worked with athletes ranging from the first-time 5K runner all the way to the Olympic athlete. While athletes understand the importance of nutrition, they don't actually know how to fuel themselves properly. And there's not a convenient and effective way for them to get personalized plans at a cost-effective price point. So what's the answer? Refuel. Refuel is like having the world's best sports dietitian at your fingertips. It tells you what to eat, when to eat, and how much to eat. Now this is Jen. Jen is one of our athletes and a subscriber to Refuel. She's a wife, she's a mother, she owns her own business, and she's currently training for the Ironman World Championships. She doesn't have time to think about nutrition, so Refuel does the thinking for her. So let's walk through Jen's journey with Refuel. First, she starts by entering in her personal data, and this creates her own unique nutritional profile based on our 16 key metrics. This also includes her daily training. Based on her profile and her daily training, Refuel will actually predict her daily energy needs. Based on this needs, Refuel completely facilitates her daily nutrition, complete with meals that have recipes and an ingredient list. Once she's ready to work out, Jen will take her Garmin device, she links it to our app, and it downloads her nutritional data. This nutritional data will tell her how much energy she has available for that workout. It will provide real-time metabolic feedback and even alert her when to eat and when to drink based on her current energy needs. We designed Refuel after the 4P concept of medicine. One of the greatest aspects about Refuel is its predictive and preventative nature. The ability to predict an athlete's energy needs will actually prevent them from entering into a state known as low energy intake. Low energy intake is the #1 cause of hormonal imbalance, injury, and illness in endurance athletes. Refuel is a subscription model, so Jen and athletes like her will pay $14.99 for access to the app. This also gives an 18-month projection of our users. The goal is by December of next year to have 5,559 monthly subscribers. This gives us the revenue needed for $1 million in annual recurring revenue. So when we look at Refuel, our initial focus is on the endurance market. 40 million athletes participate in an endurance event each year. Of those 40 million, 28 million of them use a Garmin device. So that gives us a serviceable market of over $5 billion. Our goal is over the next 3 to 5 years, obtain 4 to 5% market penetration, which gives us an annual recurring revenue of $237 million. And this is how we're going to do that. Our initial focus for the next 6 months is to leverage our existing partnerships with endurance clubs and coaches. This gives us an immediate audience of 11,000 athletes. Next year, we're going to target the existing Garmin owners through online marketing and then going to regional races and expos. The following year, we'll expand our race and expo footprint by employing an indirect sales force. So currently, there are about 200,000 fitness apps on the market. But when we look at real-time feedback and data set integration, that shrinks significantly. Our closest competitor right now is MacroStacks. They're the only other app that will provide you nutritional recommendations and meal plans based on your macronutrient needs. And they currently have 30,000 subscribers. So this is a look at some of the things that we've done this year. In February, we had 30 paid beta subscribers. In May, we were awarded first place in the New Ventures Accelerator contest. In September, next month, we will have our demo day and our soft product launch, and then look to full product launch in January of next year. So this is our team. Tremendous team behind Refuel. There's about 150 years of industry experience. There are 11 companies have been started with 3 successful exits. So next month, we look to enter into a seed round where we'll be seeking $500,000 in the form of a convertible note, our SAFE agreement. We'll use that money for operating expenses, product development, and marketing. And again, my name is Clifton Duhan, and I will answer any questions you have at this time.
Yeah, Pam, are we ready?
Go first.
Sure. Thanks for the pitch. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I'd actually heard about your company before.
From last week?
And the summary I got was, oh, it's a food logger. And so I'll just tell you my 3 questions.
Sure.
And then the first one was, like the current message being taken from other pitches you've done is, oh, you're a food logger. And how's that different from MyFitnessPal?
Sure.
Second is, what keeps the athlete that you specified on board after the event? I mean, most athletes, especially, unless they're sponsored, they do a big event and then they trail off, and there's kind of this ebb and flow of their intensity. And so I could see her kind of canceling her subscription. My Ironman's over. I'm done for 6 months. I'm taking time off.
Right.
So what keeps them growing rather than cycling in and out? And then lastly, one of the risks I'd ask you to address is if you're relying solely on Garmin, in terms of the device, what keeps them from cutting you out? If they launch their own competitive program to this and they just say, hey, we're not sharing data with you anymore, how do you protect against that?
Yeah. All right, so the first question is what differentiates us between other food logs? So all industry standard food logs, and I can actually show you, I omitted this slide due to time. So this is an actual week from Jen, right? So you look at her training hours in blue, right? So then you look at the actual energy expenditure that was taken from, we use a respiratory quotient, which is breathing into a mask, and then looking at substrate data. Her energy or training expenditure in red, right? And then you can look at the recommendations that we make in orange. So our sub mimics what we expect her to burn. This is your industry standard right here in green. So one of the things that we do is we're actually able to predict what an athlete needs and be proactive in that and helping them plan that nutrition. MyFitnessPal, it's reactive. So basically you say, I ate a banana for breakfast and you log it, but you don't know how that equates to your actual performance itself. Right? And what was the second question?
Second one was what keeps her on board. So if a subscription model, she finishes the Ironman, and then, I would cancel my subscription.
Yeah.
So like what keeps her going between events, like between
So the majority of our athletes, they'll have what's called an A race, which is their, I believe you've done a triathlon before, right?
Yeah.
So you have an A race, which is your big race for the year, but the majority of them are already planning for the next year. So you're always gonna have some fall off, but as soon as an athlete finishes Ironman Florida, they're probably planning for Lake Placid or something the next year. So it's a pretty much continual cycle. And we've talked to athletes, we surveyed 100 and said, is this something you would use on a yearly basis, knowing that you're going to continue to race, and they all said yes. So, but, there is going to be some fall off, but it's just about the value that we provide. So we'll just have to make sure that we're providing that value enough for $15 a month subscription. And then the last question was, what keeps Garmin from launching this?
More from just cutting you out.
Yeah.
Like if they may not even do it intentionally. They may just change their API access and you don't get data anymore.
So our initial focus with Garmin was because they own 90% of the market, so it was a really easy fit for us. Going into next year, we'll expand out. So Wahoo has a device. The Apple and iPhone or Apple and Android to be able to be compatible with those devices as well. But Garmin was just like get us MVP and get us into the door.
Okay. I'm looking for 5 key points, so I'll put this out there to the future presenters as well. I think about what's the problem that you've identified, what's the market that you think that you can go capture, how do you generate revenue, and that is like the biggest question of all, the funding you're looking for, and then what you're going to do with that funding. And when I think about that, you nailed all 5 of them, right? I was kind of checking them off as you went through. I was worried about the market, but then you came back and you scooped around and got it. So really good job doing that. I think that really sets an important model for everyone else here, and something to always be thinking about when you're pitching, no matter where you are, whether it's an elevator or in an environment like this, or if you're actually in front of an investor group. A couple of things. You had a question mark for some of the people. I would suggest, rather than saying, hey, we've got these open positions, don't include them on the slide. Sure. Indicate what you have, and if you need to go into more details, let that come out in some other format. But I wouldn't leave that type of open point there like that. You had on there as well, I think in your example, dietary plan, the next, that one. I saw peanuts. I just say this just from a personal point of view. My wife has got an extreme allergy to peanuts. So what made me think about this is, what do you do in terms of dealing with allergies? Do you have a mechanism to help filter that out or help users with that?
There is. So there's option, and this doesn't list them all, but the diet preferences, you could just whatever allergy you have, you just click on that, and then that way it'll emit.
And that's already been programmed, and
It
you've
is.
got that figured out, good. Some of the numbers I was a little confused by. You had mentioned $1 million run rate of revenues, I think you had that here. And then later on, you had mentioned, I think it was 237 million right there. What am I missing between the two, those two?
Our goal is by December of next year, will get us to that $1 million recurring revenue. So in order to do that, we need 5,559 subscribers. So that's our goal going into December of 2020. But then the 3 to 5 year goal is to hit the 4 to 5% market penetration.
I see. Come. Garmin only, I think that was addressed. Are you planning a churn rate? And what is that? Or approximately? And it doesn't need to be, if you don't want to disclose it here in this environment, that's fine. But, be prepared to address a churn rate of some sort.
Okay.
You're not going to keep 100% of your users. There's going to be some fall off, I think, as John alluded to. And it's also not necessarily going to be at the end of a race, right? There might be someone who gets in there and just doesn't like the app, and you're going to have 10, 15, 20% churn rate easily.
Yeah.
And then what have you done to test the $15 price point?
Surveys. So it's that $15 price point is getting towards polarizing. So you have people that say that's way too expensive, and then people that say that's way too cheap. We feel we're starting to kind of get to that right price point. So for the people that understand, it's $150 a year, but you can't get a 1 hour consult with me for less than $250. So you're already saving money there.
The paid beta, I think that's excellent. I see so many companies that have the free beta,
right,
and that doesn't test your value proposition. So I have no idea what users paid, but the fact that they paid, I think, is promising. You should almost highlight that. Look, they were willing to pay for something in beta.
So they actually paid. We did a lifetime membership at $250.
Still, that's impressive. They paid you money.
Sure,
it's a big step from surveys to somebody handing you cash.
Right.
I might highlight that a little bit more too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, you want to think about your audience. Your audience is investors. Investors want to see money.
Sure.
All right, they want to see a return on what they're doing. So, we were talking prior to all this, and you made a good point that, you're thinking about the product, you're thinking about the solution, but an investor is thinking about, okay, how's this going to turn into income for them in the future? And so I think that's a good. I didn't even see that, and I know in 5 minutes you kind of glossed over this quickly, but that is an important point.
Okay, thank you.
How much more time do we have?
Yeah, minute 40.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Or observations from the audience?
I'll just say one thing real
Sure.
quickly. Maybe this is just a me thing, but I've just seen a lot, and I don't do a lot. I would always use the microphone, because you can't assume everyone can hear you.
Sure.
And when you say, can everyone hear me? Everyone always says yes, but there are always people who can't hear you.
Okay.
And that's just like a little thing, and you can get used to speaking, not that maybe you're comfortable or not comfortable with the microphone, I don't necessarily know. I just say that to everybody also. Use the microphone. If you're not comfortable talking in front of a microphone, get some practice with it. So,
Okay.
but anyway, I thought it was really good. I like the topic. That's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Got a question
Yes,
on
sir.
the name, the refuel with the model.
Yeah.
Where'd it come from?
It was like a 30-minute just mash session between me and two other guys, just kind of trying to figure it out. So it was initially it was something fuel, and then got thrown in there. But so one of our advisors, Franco Vatterott, this guy is probably the most well-known guy in the endurance space. He created a company called Retool. And so when we named it, I wasn't even thinking about that. And then like a couple of months later, I sent him a text. I was like, I knocked off the name of one of your companies. And he's like, I don't care. He sold it. They exited to Specialized. He made a ton of money, so he's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, I was
So,
just
but,
wondering if you were German.
no, and we're going through rebranding. So there's similar companies, so we'll end up changing it. But
Okay, thanks.
yes.
Great. With that, that wraps it up. So thanks to Riku.
Thank you.